wait 33 minutes, and you will get an answer to that question. I know. See, it's 20 minutes for you. It's 33 for you, and 35. Yeah. See, we can't like give it all away. Just yeah. So, all right. Yes, sir. The hat.
I know what you're going to say. Is there a script?
I'm sorry. Is there what?
For the movie.
Oh, for a project like this, there are scripts.
Plural.
For the motion picture?
Yes, for the motion picture project. I mean, you know, when a studio is making something of this magnitude, they approach it from many different directions.
Remember, Sony has the rights to all 85 episodes of Robotech. They can approach it from any direction they want. All right. There.
What about the figurines? Are they going to be restarted for it?
Figurines for what?
For the new, if the comics are coming out? Figurines. Like,
wait, just wait 28 minutes. And we'll be talking about that. Okay, you and then we're going to do one more question before you start.
Can you just start 2 minutes early?
Because see, here's why, folks. Because like we still have 3 minutes left, and if young people come in late, we don't want to miss. We have something really important for the panel. So I want to make sure that the room is filled before we start, and that way, trust me, you're not going to want to miss this.
I'm not going to miss it.
I don't want other people to miss it. So So all right. Final pre-show question, my friend. The pressure is on. So.
Moving along. Is there a list of actors for the movie?
Okay. We cannot talk about any casting thing. People often, and we're going to work your question around a bit. People often say, well, Kev, who would you like to see cast in the live action Robotech movie? We can't say that. We can't give you any answer, and here's why. If I were to say, I would like to have blank actor play blank role in the live action Robotech movie, it would be tweeted out, today at San Diego Comic-Con Special Edition, Kevin McKeever announced that blank actor will be playing blank role for the live action Robotech movie. Then here's what happens. Sony gets really angry saying, Kev, what's going on? And then the actor's agent says, hey, what's going on? And then a whole bunch of people are coming over to Harmony Gold and they're going to lock you in a room and throw away the room. So that's why we can't even give any type of speculation for that. So fair enough. I think you guys can understand that why we get asked that a lot too, and we just simply can't even speculate because people will just simply translate and say, aha, today they announced, and that's not what happens. So
Twitter can be toxic after all.
what?
Twitter can be toxic after all time.
Twitter ain't real life, kids. So all right, ladies and gentlemen. It is 6:29. we have 30 seconds before we start.
We saw toxicity since Usenet, so
yeah,
we've seen it all.
We're used to it. I mean, I'm the most hated man on MACROSS, for God's sakes, so you know how it is. So, okay. So, folks, you know what? It's 6:30. So, folks, and ladies and gentlemen, we have some panel ground rules. We encourage audio and video, yes, we encourage audio and video recording of this panel. Uploading the panel to a podcast service and or YouTube is allowed. We encourage that. We also encourage you all to use hashtag Robotech, hashtag SDCC on social media for everyone's enjoyment. Don't be that person. Silence your mobile device, okay? Trust me, do it. Don't worry, I'll vouch for you if someone calls, okay? It's cool, okay? And folks, please hold all of your questions until the end, okay? Now, with all that out of the way, my fellow Robotech fans, welcome to the Robotech The New Beginning panel here at San Diego Comic-Con Special Edition! My name is Kevin McKeever. I am Vice President of Marketing for the Robotech franchise. And up here on stage is Tommy Yoon, the Creative Director for Robotech.
I'm so glad you guys actually made it out here after all that's happened.
Yeah, So, when last we left the Robotech franchise in 2019, Harmony Gold had rocked the anime industry from Texas to Tokyo with the announcement that we had renewed our license with Tatsunoko. The renewal stated that all of the agreements will remain in full effect well into the future. Then, in 2019, we announced our new partnership with Funimation. But with the dust settled from these major announcements, fans and the industry had a whole bunch of questions, such as, how will Funimation and Harmony Gold work together? Will Robotech ever come out on HD? And what about the MACROSS sequels and derivatives? Let's tackle the last question first. What about the MACROSS sequels and derivatives? On April 8th, 2021, it was announced that Big West Company Limited, Studio New Way Incorporated, and Harmony Gold USA announced an expansive agreement for the future of MACROSS and Robotech worldwide. The landmark agreement between the anime companies will allow immediate international distribution for most of the MACROSS television sequels and films, while affirming Harmony Gold's rights to the Robotech franchise. Both companies will cooperate on international distribution of future MACROSS and Robotech projects post-2021. Tokyo-based Big West Company Limited and Los Angeles-based Harmony Gold USA announced an agreement regarding the worldwide rights of the legendary MACROSS and Robotech franchises. This expansive agreement, signed by both companies on March 1st, 2021, ends 2 decades of disagreements and will allow Big West and Harmony Gold to chart a new path that will unlock the great potential of both the MACROSS and Robotech franchises worldwide. The landmark agreement immediately permits worldwide distribution of most of the MACROSS films and television sequels worldwide, and also confirms Big West will not oppose a Japanese release of the anticipated upcoming Robotech live-action film. But there's more. The agreement also recognizes Harmony Gold's long-standing exclusive license with Tatsunoko for the use of the 41 MACROSS characters and mecha in the Robotech television series and related merchandise throughout the world, excluding Japan. Moving forward, both parties will cooperate on distribution regarding the MACROSS and Robotech projects for the benefit of both franchises. Big West Representative Director Kaya Onishi added, quote, "Stories that feature Valkyries, a transformable realistic mecha in action amongst the galaxies, while divas sing in the background, as well as love triangles involving the pilots and singers. That was and continues to be the concept behind the MACROSS series. I am happy that I can now help bring MACROSS to the people all over the world on the 40th anniversary of the series. I would like to express my deepest gratitude to Harmony Gold Chairman Frank Agrama for his courageous decision on this matter." Harmony Gold USA Chairman Frank Agrama stated, quote, "This is an incomparably historic moment for both Harmony Gold and Big West and the anime industry overall. This is an exciting moment for fans of Robotech and MACROSS worldwide. I thank my friend, Big West Representative Director Kaya Onishi, for her hard work to help us reach this long-desired resolution that protects both our franchises while building a better tomorrow for both our companies." Let me ask you guys a quick question. We talked about this before, my friend. How many of you heard this for the very first time at this panel? Raise your hand. See? Yeah, I've been seeing this a lot. So I'm glad to be able to convey this important news for you. And folks, we can now then turn, with this landmark agreement in place, to our new Robotech merchandise, starting with apparel from Atsuko. Yes. Atsuko has launched a new line of Robotech apparel, starting with t-shirts. And here's a close-up of some of the designs. They also have a new line of Robotech hoodies. Yes. Pretty cool, huh? And they are joined by our friends at Udon with their line of t-shirts. Yep, you can order these right now at udonstore.com. And our friends at Udon have some important news regarding the Robotech art books. We are pleased to announce that the Southern Cross art book is in stock and now shipping from robotech.com. And Tommy, you've been working on these things a lot too here, and you want to add a little?
Yeah, so let's advance to take a look at the material inside. What happened when the Southern Cross book shipped, even the folks at Udon were surprised. They thought it would be a much thinner book than the MACROSS book that had shipped earlier. You're familiar with Robotech Art 1. So now we have so much material that each one of the generations by themselves are as thick as Robotech Art 1. So that's how much material we have dug up. So the Southern Cross book now has more material than has ever been published in the US or Japan. Let's advance a little further. And so you'll just see, views of the mecha that have never been seen in print before. So these actually came from the pre-production designs. And then the next one is very interesting. This was something that affected both Southern Cross and Mosquito. All the stuff that was published was the final pre-production design, what you would call the key art. And you've seen that with MACROSS, but what's interesting with MACROSS is there's been a lot of stories and anecdotes about behind the scenes, how it was made. This was missing for Southern Cross and Mosquito, and I want to give a shout out to Roger Harkavy, who helped find a lot of this lost material in Japan, because Tatsunoko worked with a couple of outside studios, which was Okura Design, also known as Ammonite, and Artment. And they had collaborated in creating these other series, and now you're going to see so much stuff related to early pre-production on Mosquito and Southern Cross.
Yeah, and speaking of Mosquito, we also have the new generation art book in stock. And folks, you can order all three, MACROSS, Southern Cross, and Mosquito. All three art books are now available at the Robotech.com store. And now it's a great time to talk about tabletop games. Because our friends at Strange Machine Games have created a new board game called Robotech Reconstruction. This game takes place in the aftermath of the great battle with Dolza's Armada. And here is some of the interior artwork. Here is a look at the gameplay. And this game will arrive in late 2021 or early 2022, depending on which ship gets unloaded at Long Beach. Once we know the exact date, we'll let you guys know. But folks, Strange Machine Games also has its line of Robotech role-playing games. We know some of you are asking about them in the pre-show. Starting with the MACROSS side. And here's a look at the interior artwork. But folks, Strange Machine Games has a new role-playing game. And here is a look at it.
In the first saga, we encountered the Zentradi, an alien threat of unspeakable power. They threatened our very existence and attacked us with the full force of their might. The Earth was nearly destroyed and left as a wasteland. But we survived and rebuilt. We knew the alien threat was coming, so we prepared. We built weapons and mecha of vast power, And when the masters came, we fought back and won, but paid a terrible cost. The Invid found Earth and swarmed with fury. They overwhelmed our forces and plunged the Earth into darkness and chaos. But heroes rose from the ashes to end the threat. Robotech Homefront includes all important figures, mecha, equipment, and ships from both the Masters and New Generation sagas. The potential to tell more Robotech stories is vast. New mecha, equipment, careers, skills, and ships are available for your world. Hero up.
Ladies and gentlemen, Robotech Homefront is a supplement to the Robotech the MACROSS Saga role-playing game. It covers both the Robotech Masters and New Generation eras of the franchise. Homefront will expand the lore of both the Masters and the New Generation era sagas. We know many of you have been asking, Robotech's been very Macross-centric. Well, folks, Robotech Homefront's going to expand the universe with a ton of great artwork. You're really going to enjoy it. Tom, you have something you want to add here? Or?
I just really floored at the quality of the work here. These guys have been really working hard on this. And one thing that's great is they've also been working on crowdfunding. And I know there's been a little bit of history before with the Robotech and crowdfunding, but I think one thing that we've established now is that the track record has been very good in that our licensees have been delivering their products on time.
Yes. And folks, Robotech Homefront will be arriving in 2022. And we are pleased to announce that Robotech has joined the Wax blockchain. You're probably thinking, wait, hold it, huh? What the heck is a blockchain? What the heck is an NFT? This video will explain.
Robotech is coming to the Wax blockchain with a new digital trading card game. Start by opening limited edition packs of build cards. Combine 2 matching build cards to unlock a new card with one of 4 rarities. Upgrade that card's power by adding additional build cards. Upon upgrading each card, you'll unlock a special class card with one of 3 rarities. Build cards are earned when used, which increases card scarcity and value. Every collectible is certified authentic, unique, and can never be duplicated or altered thanks to Wax's secure blockchain technology. So you can enjoy an authentic card collecting and trading experience from any smartphone or computer. Trade cards instantly with anyone, anywhere in the world. Collect them all. Visit robotech.cards for details.
Yes, folks, they are now available from our friends at Wax. And what about video games? Yes, I know, some people are asking about video games. Ladies and gentlemen, Robotech is now on the Nintendo Switch. Yes. Would you like to see some gameplay? What'd you think? You like that? Pretty cool, huh? How many, hey guys, one quick question. How many of you, this is all new news to you, who saw this? Oh, see, yeah, good number of you. Okay. Well, folks, this is now available on the Nintendo Switch for $9.99. Feel free to download it right now. And, folks, we have a new line of 1/6 scale statues from our friends at Kids Logic, starting with the Dana Sterling statue, which is now available for pre-order. If you notice, folks, it comes with the armor. You can remove the helmets, too. You can see that. And we have a new VF1J statue. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Here, check this out. Yes, you can order these right now from our friends at Kids Logic. And Kids Logic also has a line of 1/12 scale cockpit dioramas, starting with the VF1J. This is going to be followed by the new VF1S cockpit diorama. And folks, it comes with a cool removable Roy Fokker pilot statue. Yes. Oh, these things are wonderful, folks. These are amazing. And folks, you can order these right now from our friends at kidslogic.toys. That's kidslogic.toys. And speaking of toys, our friends over at MEP Toys have a new line of bad guys, starting with the Invid Scout, followed by the Invid Shock Trooper. And you can order these right now from Robotech.com. And our friends at Kids Concept have their line of action figures as well, with the Min-May, Rick, and the variant Min-May, followed by the Lisa Hayes and Roy Fokker figures. And just this year, Kids Concept announced a new Rick Hunter variant in his civilian flight suit. And folks, this flight suit is made of real cloth. Yeah, it's really cool. And our friends at Toynami have their line of action figures, the 4.25, 4.25 action figure line, starting with Wave 1, followed by Wave 2. And they have the line of 1/100 scale, fully transformable VF1s in the retro MACROSS packaging. The VF1S and VF1J are out right now. The Max Emilia variants are out right now as well. And the VF1A in the retro packaging is available. You can order these right now at Robotech.com. And our friends at Kids Concept have launched a new line of 172 fully transformable VF1s. These have high die-cast metal content, LED lighting, and are available right now. And this is going to be followed by a VF1J. And folks, if you want heavy armor, Kids Concept has you covered. Yes, and it comes with the cool flying missiles too. And now we want to tackle a big question. Many of you have been asking us the past couple of years, what is going on with Robotech Comics? And I'm glad my friend Tommy Yoon is up here, because we're going to talk about what is going on with Robotech Comics, Tommy.
I think that's very critical, because we are, of all places, at San Diego Comic-Con. And one of our licensees that has been a regular here at Comic-Con is Titan Comics. And before the onset of the pandemic, the volume of material that they were putting out was incredible. And folks really liked the comics, and they were on the bestseller charts. And that had to come to, that big schedule that we had to come to a close because a lot of comic shops were closed. And so this did affect us, greatly. Now, now that that's all winding down, they are restarting their publishing schedule. And they're starting with the archive of books first. And so they have the trade paperbacks of all the new comics that they've put out so far. And they're also putting out the phone books of all the old Kamiko era books. So it goes all the way back to the MACROSS saga, which they've completed now. And they're moving on to the Sentinels and the Masters, comics that have become gradually more and more difficult to find because those have never been reprinted before in this manner. And so this is fantastic to see. So once we have those out on the market now, and we're working with Titan on getting new comics back on the schedule.
And folks, speaking of new things, we have a new license we're going to announce here today. Our friends at 3.0 are now a part of the Robotech family, and we're very excited to be having them. Tommy, you've been working with them. Can you give us a little sense of what's going on?
Yes, so they do have some surprise material. They wanted to let folks know that they are here at Comic-Con, but we didn't want to unveil the product too early yet. But you can see them at 2239, tell them about how much you like Robotech, and also see the craftsmanship of the stuff they do. They do really high-end collectibles. And the stuff that they do looks incredible. And so the fact that they're working with us on Robotech, that's, we're so excited.
Yes, and folks, please tell them we sent you. Tommy and Kev sent you. We go down there, okay, at 2289. 39, excuse me. So folks, what about Robotech in high definition? Tommy, you've been working on this too a lot. You were actually going down deep into the Harmony Gold vaults here.
Yeah, so here you get to see a peek inside our building. So this is selective. We're not going to show you, all the laser traps that you have to get around, but and we're not going to show a continuous shot of how to get into our secret vault. But we have materials going back decades. Like this is a U-matic. This was from the VHS era. And then next we have a digital Betacam, which was our master tapes used during the DVD era. But for remastering this in high definition, we actually went to the original film canisters again. And so what you're seeing here is the original film canisters from Tatsunoko. And these are all 16 millimeter prints from Japan. And so this is what it looks like. And there's actually a little bit of documentation with this. So this is dates to 59 Showa period. I don't know if you're familiar with the Japanese calendar, but that translates out to 1984. And this is what it's going to end up happening, is all that material is going to be digitized at higher than high definition, just to kind of future-proof ourselves a little bit. And it's all going to be digitized onto hard drives. And so one thing that we did with Funimation, it was a really interesting call. There's been some anime that's been filtered to death, so it almost starts to look like flash animation. And this one was actually on 16 millimeter stock, and so they wanted to take a light touch to this approach. So you actually see what an original standard definition television could not convey, what the actual film stock looked like. And so this is what you're going to be seeing in the Blu-ray, which is out now.
Year 1999, high above MACROSS Island. A phenomenal event occurred in the skies which altered the course of human history and defined a generation. Robotech. The iconic mecha saga finally returns, now digitally remastered. Own the entire series on Blu-ray and experience it in high definition, featuring all 85 episodes. And stream the entire remastered series on Funimation, the official home of Robotech, coming to a screen near you.
Robotech is now available on 1080p in Blu-ray, and you get an exclusive variant Veritech fighter with a dual pack exclusive Roy Boker action figure with all that you see here. And, we talked about before about streaming. Where's Robotech going to be streaming? Check this out. Yes, folks, all 85 episodes of Robotech are now streaming on Funimation. Robotech 2, The Sentinels, and The Shadow Chronicles will be joining them as well. And folks, we're not doing a Zoom call today. We want to hear what you have to say. So feel free to line up. We want to hear what you have to say. Thank you for coming. Please line up. We want to hear your questions.
You were asked earlier that I pause until this portion of the panel. I want to ask if there's going to be a future licensee that might make some cosplay costumes or role-playing kind of toys.
You want costumes. You want licensed costumes.
Licensed costumes.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. And one thing that we'd like to touch on is we work with Funimation on the licensing now. They have an army of staff who specifically work on this. And it's awesome to work with them. We will suggest it to them. And yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, lots of toys, lots of t-shirts, but nothing for costumes.
Well, how many of you want licensed Robotech costumes? No. All right. Next question.
Who has the rights to Do You Remember Love?
Do You Remember Love? Okay, here's the status of the film, guys. Okay, you ready? We talked about before that the agreement we discussed early on says that most of the MACROSS sequels and derivatives are given immediate clearance. However, Do You Remember Love is subject to a holdback right now. Why? Because there are multiple moving targets that must be met before that film can be released outside of Japan. A lot of people have asked us, what do you mean by multiple moving targets? Folks, when I say multiple moving targets, I mean multiple moving targets. So we don't have an answer for you just yet. Just give it some time now, okay? You're welcome. All right, next question. Yes?
We have been touching on the same thing. This series has been pretty motivational for a lot of us throughout the years. And given that the American market, the Japanese market are #1 and #2 music markets in the world, my question is, what is in store music-wise for any of these? Is there anything upcoming, any soundtracks or any more digital releases or anything pertaining to just the music?
Yeah, it's too bad Steve Yoon isn't here because he works most heavily on that. He unfortunately broke his finger while chasing a coyote. I'm not sure. He does have a lot of material, and I would say that at the next anniversary period, we may have a new release for you. That's just a bridge we have to cross, but our 30th anniversary soundtrack only made that. We went through so much of our archival materials, and the booklet even describes what we did, which was we actually went back to the original 24-track masters and individualized the instruments so that we could have proper remixes done of some of the tracks.
Wow. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome. All right, next question. Yes, sir.
Back at the beginning of the presentation, you said that most of MACROSS is going to be available. Which ones specifically?
We cannot comment on any specific MACROSS title at this time. Okay? There are some other things that have to happen first. Just give it some time though, folks. Most of them have been cleared for international release. They will come out. Just give it some time. We promise you they're coming. So, okay? Yes, sir.
I don't know if this applies to the previous question, but is Shadow Chronicles going to be is it going to continue because it stopped at some point, and we all know Rick Hunter got out of the little thing. So we've been waiting for several years about this. Is that going to continue, or is it still on hold?
Oh, I want that to continue.
Yeah, I want that to continue too.
I want to find out what happens.
Just so you know, we're working with Sony. Sony has a huge, enormous say over Robotech animation. And you looking at what Sony's been doing over the past past 18 months, they've been making enormous moves into the anime market. For example, the Crunchyroll acquisition. So Sony just told us, hey guys, we've got some corporate stuff on our end we have to solve, okay? But Robotech's a high priority for them. You're seeing that already with the Funimation partnership. Robotech's now out on HD. They're working with licensing. As we said before to the gentleman here, they view Robotech as a Harry Potter type of franchise. So, but there's corporate things that are happening behind the scenes that have to fall into place before we can really move forward on animated Robotech. We want to, it's just, there's larger corporate issues involved. And of course, folks, COVID, we have to sort of get through that as well. So, once again, that's the best answer we can give you. Thank you, sir. Yes, next question.
Sorry, I know I bothered you a lot, but
no, please.
Is there anything that you haven't discussed already that is either on the horizon or just over the horizon that is really exciting to you guys? Because we know what we're excited about as fans, but you guys know possibly some things we don't.
Yes. And yeah, I'm just afraid of the plant in the audience who's like ready to disintegrate us the moment we open our mouths about that. But yeah, we are so excited about the new work that we're doing with Sony. I mean, you know, regularly you see these announcements, and there's lots of surprises happening lately, and there will be more surprises in the future. It's just that we can only cross certain bridges in due time.
And just to help put this in perspective, this announcement, you know, we've been hiding this under our hats for a while we were negotiating the deal. So, I mean, there are big things we're working on, but as I said before, we can't discuss this stuff until things are ready to go. And this example, the MACROSS announcement is a great example of that. So, thank you. Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, your previous apparel licensee attempted to do a line of Robotech sports jerseys, specifically hockey. What about Robotech baseball jerseys?
Who wants Robotech baseball jerseys? Raise your hand. We will let Funimation know. Okay. Folks, questions, suggestions, comments? This is your chance. Come on up. Yep.
I know the comments are starting back up. Are they going to pick up on the next issue that they would have released? Or is it going to be like a whole different timeline?
That's a good question. That is the magic question. And this is something that this is a question for Titan as well, is because so much time had passed because of COVID, it was a substantial interruption. And we were so used to the Robotech comics were coming out on such a regular schedule. You know, you would have 1, 2, 3, 4 trade paperback, 1, 2, 3, 4 trade paperback. And so because we did have that interrupted, you know, one of the questions is, you know, do we figure out a way to recap it, to get all the fans who are coming fresh into this up to speed? Because, you know, we're mindful also of fans who see this on the shelf and go, oh, a new #1, you know, what am I getting into? So we do have to strategize that as well with the interruption in the publishing schedule. But yes, these are all things that we're weighing, you know, how do we work the amazing remix material that we have right now, you know, that I want to see continue. So yes, just you wait.
All right, yes sir.
So you mentioned a suggestion. Maybe look back at the old Xbox, the original Xbox Robotech game. Maybe see about remastering that.
How many of you would like to see the Robotech Battlecry remastered? Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
Hello.
This is kind of in a similar vein to the previous question, I think. But do you think that there's going to be a kind of like a non-side scroller Robotech video game in production sometime in the future?
Okay, so more like a sandbox.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I guess Battlecry was kind of in that direction, and yes, that's one thing that we've been. So the Switch game was a low-hanging fruit because we were able to gather a lot of the original team together, and what they had to do was, because that original game was for the GBA, they actually had to write their code from scratch. But the one thing that they did have from before was they had the 3D assets, and this was kind of crazy. We didn't know that for the Game Boy Advance, it was actually 3D assets. It was kind of like looking at Command & Conquer and finding out those assets were actually in 3D, even though the resolution was so low. And so they actually took those assets and they built it out for the Switch, and it was awesome. And so this is something, you know, we would like to see with Battlecry. The challenge here would be, because it's been so long since Vicious Cycle, we would have to figure out, you know, who would be doing this.
Thank you.
Excellent question. Thank you. Who has another question? Yes, come on up. You can ask multiple questions, folks. It's your life. Yes. This is a discussion, by the way. We want you to ask multiple questions. Please go ahead.
So, you know, I asked before the panel started, Kit's concept making a Masters hover tank or an SDF-1. I guess my recommendation would be, is there any way you can encourage Toynami to make a hover tank toy or an SDF-1? We've had lots of Robotech fighters from Toynami, from MACROSS, New Generation, etc. But they never made an SDF-1, at least not to my knowledge. They've never made a hover tank or any of the other mecha from the second series. It would be great if Toynami would make something else besides the Robotech fighters. That's my suggestion.
That's a great suggestion. One thing that I know that there are fans who like to criticize Toynami, that they're very specific on the toys that they do. They work on the high volume toys. And part of the reason is that that's one of the reasons why among the independent toy makers, they've been in business so long. Like there's been really high quality toy makers who could put out great stuff, but they just can't manage to stay in business. And so that's something that they're weighing, is they want to stay afloat and they want to keep making the business work for themselves so that they can continue to make these toys for a long time. Now this is where a smaller niche player like Meat Toys comes in. One thing that Meat Toys does is they actually are in contact with Toynami, and they actually share information and knowledge, and they actually make toys in a scale that works together with Toynami. So this might be something that we could suggest to Meat Toys, that it works in the Toynami universe, it's compatible, and yet they make it for a smaller niche audience.
Great.
Yeah.
It makes like two questions on the novels. Are we ever going to see them in audio form? Audiobooks of the Robotech novels. Something like Audible, where you guys have like on a road trip, I can listen to Robotech.
How many of you want Robotech audio books and audio drama?
And same vein is, why don't we continue Shadow Chronicles in novel form? Let's continue. I'm a reader. I have all the books, so having more of those, I would enjoy.
How many of you want more Robotech novels like the Shadow Chronicles or original stories? All right. We'll pass that along to Funimation.
Yeah, you know what? I don't think this was ever discussed before. Actually, Carl Masick was ready to novelize Robotech the Shadow Chronicles, but unfortunately, that didn't come to pass.
I just wanted to know if you're continuing the story with Scott Bernard, or if you're ending with Southern Cross.
Oh, you know what? I love Scott Bernard too. He's like second on my list of favorite, next to Rand.
Well, just so you know, we have the Robotech role-playing game, which is Robotech Homefront coming out here. And you'll see a lot of discussions of Scott Bernard and a much deeper dive into the Robotech Masters and New Generation will happen. I think you guys will really. Yeah. See, yes, Scott Bernard there in his Cyclone Run. So you'll see a lot of more information. Also, there's the Robotech Cyclone Run board game, which is already out from SMG, Strange Machine Games. That's available too. You're going to see a lot more, not just of MACROSS, but of Southern Cross, and we'll see that as well. Yeah. Oh yes, please go ahead.
No, my question was about the figures for the cyclones and all that, but I saw the picture earlier that you guys do have like the individual and all that, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, we got Mech Choice. They're starting the bad guy lines with the New Generation, starting with the Invid. I've seen them. They're really going to like these Invid folks. Lots of detail, good quality plastic. You're really going to like them. So, yep. Sir.
Alright, this kind of goes in line with the video game variety, I guess, between the side-scrolling stuff. I was wondering if the variety has been limited to the side-scrolling because maybe the conflict maybe between PGI and HBS. I'm wondering, is that kind of squashed and done, or is that still an open old wound, or how does that move forward with, I guess, if you guys were to open up into other video game style games?
Between who again?
Harebrained Studios and Piranha Games. There is a big conflict between Harmony Gold and licensing and certain mechs looking similar to other things. And
in terms of a Robotech game, that's not an issue. Sure. It's just a matter of just finding a good developer.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay, Kevin, go back to the art books, please. All right. Oh, wow. Well, okay, like since you're already, every time someone says something, you're already on it. Okay. Are we going to see, and this is also kind of a loaded question, so forgive me. Are we going to see additional art books beyond New Generation Mosquito, such as Shadow Chronicles, such as Robotech, the movie, The Untold Story?
That's something that Uno wants to do. They want to touch onto stuff beyond just the 85 episodes.
And what about Robotech, the movie, The Untold Story? Are we ever going to get a complete version as opposed to the one that was in the box set?
Okay, so that's an interesting one. That is because the Idol company went out of business. So for the longest time, it was actually a mystery who owned the rights to that. And we actually kind of came close once. This was when ADB had the rights to Megazone 23 and Robotech at the same time. And we brought this subject up, and they thought it was actually a good idea, but before that could come to pass, ADB went out of business. So unfortunately, that was an opportunity that didn't happen. So that is a good question. We're trying to figure out, who holds those rights, and does the current rights holder, are they fine with having a separate version of their IP released in the U.S. Under the Robotech brand? I mean, we're all for it if we can figure out how to do that. So yeah, that was just a matter of, like people were wondering how come the rights to that just kind of flamed out in the early 2000s. That's because Idol company went out of business and went into, I guess, receivership, the equivalent of bankruptcy.
Sir, you're going to be the final question of the night, so.
All right.
Pressure's on.
So with the rise of the MMOs really getting really big right now, has there ever been a discussion of possibly going Robotech MMO? Building like a story around the player, building into a multiplayer universe?
That would be amazing. This was something that actually Vicious Cycle toyed around with. They took their engine and they moved the camera into a top-down perspective and tried it out, and it actually worked. But unfortunately, after their second game, that's something that just didn't happen. So, which is too bad. But yes, I think the love for something like that isn't gone. We definitely want to see something like that.
Okay, folks. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for all coming out. We'll see you all next year at San Diego Comic-Con. Thank you.